It's day one of the grand IKEA launch in India at Hi-Tech City in Hyderabad. I'm currently at the entrance right next to the parking lot, and as you can see behind, the crowds are trickling in. The shop opened at 10 a.m. earlier today, and I thought it would be a good idea for us at ET Now to give our viewers a quick trip of this entire 4 lakh square feet massive store that IKEA has finally launched after years of patient waiting. Now, this 4 lakh square feet store of IKEA is split into 2 portions. On top, as you can see behind me, there's a path going upstairs. That's the showroom, and there is a marketplace on the ground floor. So it's split into 2 portions. Let's start off, but let me also remind our viewers that before you start shopping, download the IKEA app because there's free Wi-Fi all across the store. Follow me. Well, as you can see, we've now reached the showroom area, and in a bit, I'll tell you what the store has to offer section by section. So now we're at the first floor, which is the showroom floor, and when you reach the first floor, don't forget, over and above downloading the IKEA app, don't forget to pick this up because this booklet is really handy. It provides navigation from the entire first floor, which is the showroom floor, through the IKEA business center over there, and all the way down through the restaurant, the popular restaurant, which is a 1,000-seater restaurant, and of course down to the market hall. So this is what the pamphlet says, a clear direction of all the various segments from living rooms to dining, to workspaces, to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the bedroom. And keep in mind that if you don't want to get lost inside this massive showroom, you follow the arrow and the blue board, you will be safe and you will not get lost. But I'm in the midst of the showroom on the first floor. I've picked up my IKEA bag and let's take a quick tour. So as you can see over here, clearly there's a lot of crowd. It is the first day of the store opening in Hyderabad, and therefore there is considerable amount of interest because many people have been eagerly awaiting for this store to open in Hyderabad. And if you look around there, very interesting section. I can spot some Beatles memorabilia. I can spot some sofas and upholstery. All of them checking out the prices as well of the various items on display. Now, one of the major selling points of IKEA was that about 1,000 items were priced below 200. This seems to be one of those products in the below 200 rupees category. 6-pack of mugs for 99 rupees. So how's your experience so far?
It's very nice. We still have to see a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a massive store.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at the section over there. So many niche items over here, something as niche as even artificial potted plants. This seems to be a pretty busy section as far as sofas, upholstery are concerned. This is essentially the living room section, and this should draw considerable interest amongst Hyderabadis. Let's take a U-turn now, and let's look at some of the other sections as well. Some interesting lamps over here, and some wooden furniture as well. Remember, IKEA believes in functional Scandinavian minimalistic design, so that is something that will be common in all the products that you see. They are clearly not trying to compete with the Indian designers. They are going to stay Scandinavian. So as you can see, it's all been done up in a model room sort of. So there is a model kitchen, there is a model bedroom, there is a model living room. So it's all been done up in that fashion so that you can visualize how these products look actually if you were to buy them and put them up in your house. So, interestingly, this massive IKEA store, the first store in India and Hyderabad is not just about the retail seller. As you can see behind me, there's also a IKEA business segment, and this is a segment which caters to corporates, to businesses. So if you have a bulk order, if you want to do up your office, if you want to do up your factory, right behind me is the team that will in fact help you do it. As you can see, a discussion is already taking place. They will offer customized solutions as to how you can make your office look like the one that IKEA wants it to look like. So clearly, IKEA has also thought about the businessmen and the corporates in India as well. And in the midst of all that frenetic shopping, if your stomach starts grumbling and you're hungry, well, voila, there you have it. The IKEA restaurant, 50% menu, Indian items, and then of course, the remaining 50% Swedish items, with of course the famous Swedish meatballs available both in non-veg and vegetarian. What's special about the IKEA restaurant at the IKEA store in Hyderabad is that it's a really massive one. It is the biggest store in terms of restaurant size globally. It's a 1,000-seater, and no other IKEA store anywhere across the globe has a restaurant as big as this one. So there you have it. You also have a food option, and what's interesting is that the IKEA store is open from 10 in the morning to 11 in the night. But this restaurant opens half an hour earlier at 9:30 and closes half an hour earlier at 10:30. So there you have it. For all the foodies, this is the place to go to. Next stop is the babies section. And like I promised earlier, we are now in the kids section or the babies section. So for all you mommies and daddies out there, this is what is at display. The kids are clearly enjoying themselves. So you've got kiddie furniture, you've got a whole host of stuffed toys, you've got kiddie storage. As you can look behind me, you've also got kiddie cushions, kiddie linen. Let's take a look at one of the model rooms for kids over here. So this is what IKEA has as far as the children's section is concerned. So there you have it. All the mommies and daddies, if you want to get goodies for your kids, even babies, this is where you need to be. And now that we're done with the first floor, it's time now for the ground floor, which is called the market hall. And this section has several different niche categories, ranging from tableware and cook shops, to textiles, to beds and bath textiles, to lighting, to home organizations. If I go through the list, outdoor furniture, wall decoration, the list is endless. Follow me. Well, I'm ready with my trolley and I'm on the market floor, as you can see. First day of the IKEA store in Hyderabad. And as you can see right behind me, right at the beginning, there are several products, several affordable products. Most of them, some of them in fact, below the 200 rupee range, which is the attractive proposition which IKEA has at this particular store. Let's stroll through and see what this store has for us. So all the way starting from chopping boards, it's also in fact got a few interesting items in terms of dish drainers. This is something that I think I'm going to like. I'm going to pick up this one. A lot of interesting stuff, all with minimalistic design. This is a pastry brush, very interesting. I'm going to pick up this one as well. Let's take a right now. And yes, as you can see, the color scheme, that's something that IKEA prides itself in, pastel colors. And this is where you have the oven dish. 945 rupees is the price range over here. Available in a whole host of colors. Right behind me, if I can ask my cameraman to pan, you can see the number of customers here on day one at the ground floor of the market hall. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. the crowds will trickle in. It's just been 2 hours since the launch of the first IKEA store in Hyderabad. Like I said earlier, if you do not want to get lost in the IKEA store, these are the marks that you need to keep a lookout for. Very unique arrow marks. So just keep following them, and I request you to follow me as well. So these are the clear arrow marks. So if you keep following them, you're definitely not going to get lost in the store. One last section before we move to the checkout and exit the IKEA store. This is the self-serve furniture area. Several interesting items over here. Say for example, the stool over here. If you see, let's give you an idea of what the stool is all about. So the stool is split into 3 pieces. You have the base, and then you have the legs, and then of course there is an instruction manual behind and a bunch of screws. So you assemble it, and then you have this rugged stool. So this is how many of the products in this area are. Remember, this is the self-serve furniture area. The last section before we move for checkout. So we have traveled through the length and breadth of this 4 lakh square feet store, the first IKEA store in Hyderabad. We have been to the first floor, we're now at the ground floor, and finally it's time for checkout. So they have 3 different kinds of checkouts. They have an express checkout, that's for people like me who have not shopped too much. Then they have a self-scan checkout, and then they have the regular checkout. Perhaps that's for customers with bulk purchases. But really at the end of the day, if you want to know more, you will have to come personally and visit this store in Hyderabad. That's the only way that you can best experience the IKEA way of living and furnishing. Jasper, thanks a ton for taking out time and speaking to ET Now. IKEA is no stranger to India. Over the course of the past 3 to 4 decades, it has been sourcing from India for its global stores. Now, after a very, very long and some might say painful wait, finally you've made your debut in India. Your first store has been launched in Hyderabad, in Hi-Tech City. Tell us firstly, Jasper, what excites you about the Indian furniture and retail market when it comes to consumer base, when it comes to consumer spending, and when it comes to the workforce? And would you say that this has perhaps been the most difficult market for IKEA to enter?
Well, to be humble, IKEA is actually 2 weeks ago we turned 75 years. And hopefully you can see, looking at me, I have not been part of the full journey. But you can say, to your question about our point of view on this market, it's, if I start with the facts, more than 1.3 billion people, the fastest developing economy in the world, middle class that is on the rise. So everything is right for us from a business opportunity and from the vision of IKEA to be part of creating a better everyday life at home for the many people. So for us, India has of course always been a dream. And tomorrow, the dream will come true. We opened the first store here, and that is the first step in a long-term commitment for us in order to build together with India something that's good for us and something that's good for India.
Coming back to the second part of my first question, would you say it's the most difficult market? Because it's taken a while for you to kickstart operations, and of course there was government policy involved. You were waiting for a few concessions from the government as well. Would you say it's been the most difficult market?
I wouldn't categorize it singularly like that. You can say when we enter new markets, competition can be an issue, legislation could be, pure financials can be, etc. But every time we step into a new market, there is normally a hurdle of things that we need to learn and that we need to find solutions with the market. The typically unique, I wouldn't phrase it as you did in your question because you talked about the long and painful. I would say we have had a very exciting collaborative journey.
Right.
When we looked first at India, the preconditions was not here. From a legislative perspective, which led to a cost situation that was not, we were not capable to make the investments. So in strong collaboration with the India government representatives, state representatives, there is a progressive and quite logic, I think, journey that India is on. And thereby we have found that collaboration has been the key success factor. That's why we are here today.
All right, congratulations anyways on breaking the ice. But if you were to compare the sourcing norms of India, and sourcing norms form a major part of MNCs like you, IKEA, which seek to enter jurisdictions like India, how would you compare the sourcing norms of India when it comes to other jurisdictions? Because you're a global player, you're a massive player, you're present in around 49 countries. Yes. How does the Indian policy on sourcing compare?
On sourcing products, you mean?
Yes.
Well, you can say our goal is to source products in an optimal way, and that means how can we provide all the benefits of a product and land it in a store to the lowest possible price? That is the goal. That means a variety of solutions. So in some of our categories, maybe it's enough with one industry, the transport cost is low globally. In other places, if you go to, for example, what has been a recent breakthrough for us in India has been upholstery mattresses. Right. It's bulky, it's logistically demanding, and before we were not capable to source it, now we are, so we are happy for that.
What's your take on the current business environment in India? Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, there's been a wave of fresh foreign money that has come in. He has liberalized the FDI environment. What's your take as a major player who's seeking their share of the Indian consumer pie?
Well, as some wise leader said a long time ago about India, it's not a shopping center to lead. We have the deepest respect. We look at our challenges and our journey, but looking at the transformation of India, we have only the deepest respect. The last period and decade or so, it has been, I think, a more self-confident India. An India that stakes out directions, may be made in India for production, housing for all, but a confident India that is building towards managing a journey of transition of the middle classes, amongst many other things. And it's, we feel it's, even if sometimes we might have to take 2 steps and 1 step back, okay, there is a progression in that, and we are part of that journey.
Now let's come to the most important question, at least from the consumer's point of view. IKEA has made a big name for itself worldwide. Scandinavian design, minimalistic, functional design. You're also very, very popular for your affordable prices in other jurisdictions and mass volumes. Yes. So that's a niche that you've established for yourself globally. Absolutely. In India, the Indian consumer, I'm sure you'll agree, is notoriously price conscious. You have 7,500 products in this massive store in Hyderabad, 4 lakh square feet, out of which around 1,000 products are below the price range of 200 rupees. So would you say that with this kind of aggressive pricing strategy in India, that India is the least expensive market of IKEA globally?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. Maybe it's the opposite even. To the products that you refer to, the 1,000 products below 200 rupees, the 500 below 100 rupees, I would say is an additional effort from our side to be able to reach it. What is the challenge is that India is diverse in many ways. And it's also one of the most diverse places on the planet when it comes to income, meaning that you can easily end up in the trap to target upper middle class, etc. But our goal and our vision is always to side with the many people within wallets and try to support them in making an affordable home. And we should be humble to say that is more difficult in India than in Sweden from an income level. But that is a lovely challenge, and so far the 2 things, and among many, that we learn in India is how do we actually have to work smarter in design in order to provide those products. And the second thing is the Indian is then not at all less quality demanding, but actually one of the most quality demanding customers. So we're learning a lot about that too.
It's quite a symbiotic relationship, isn't it? The Indian gets to embrace the IKEA products, and IKEA also gets to understand the Indian consumer psyche. Yeah. But sticking to the aggressive pricing strategy, many believe that this kind of a pricing strategy could lead to inevitable price wars. I'll just give you a parallel. In the Indian telecom sector, we had Mukesh Ambani-led Reliance Jio, which disrupted the entire sector with aggressive pricing, which caused a lot of pressure on other players like Vodafone and Idea and Bharti Airtel. They were the incumbents. Do you believe that with IKEA's entry and its aggressive pricing points, there could be inevitable price wars? And are you ready for the tag of the market disruptor, so to say?
Well, let's see. You can say fundamentally we believe that competition is healthy. There are certain elements of competition that can drive behaviors that are not maybe the healthiest. But ultimately today in market after market, and like in India, customer is becoming the king and the queen, meaning that we have to do a better job and our competitors have to do a better job to serve them. We step into this with a big of humbleness and respect, and in the end of the day we hope that we can be a leader in the low price segment. But to your point, if you skip Sweden possibly, which is the home market where we have a bit more than 30% market share, a typical market share in a big market for us in a market area is single digit.
All right.
Yeah, sometimes a bit more. So there's a lot of room, and normally we see that when IKEA comes, we bring attention to home furnishing and to the business. So.
All right, you spoke about market share, and that tempts me to ask you the next question. Many analysts believe that for a company like IKEA, which is entering into a new complicated market like India, demanding consumer, that profitability will take some time. When do you think IKEA India can break even? I know I'm asking you to crystal ball gaze into the future.
You're asking the exact question my head of the board is asking me. And so of course we have plans. And luckily in IKEA, one of the strengths that we have is that we are not on the stock exchange. We're a long-term company owned by a foundation. India is for us the most important market entry that we're doing in our times. And therefore we took a conscious decision not to be defensive or greedy in the beginning. We have done those mistakes way back when we entered some markets, that we came in on a slightly too high price level. So first of all, we have to own and deserve the position for low price. And then as the volume comes, as we get more stores, more regions, hopefully economy of scale will help us to reach profitability. But that's not going to be this year.
IKEA's stated ambition, Jasper, is to open 25 stores by 2025. Give us a sense of, beyond Hyderabad, which are the immediate metros that you're targeting, and maybe some of the smaller cities as well, which you're targeting for entry.
Yeah. No, at the moment, unlike earlier entries where we, for example in China, we entered with a store in Shanghai. I think we took too many years to commit ourselves to go all in with China. In India, we actually have decided to go full speed even before we open the first store, which is Hyderabad. We're having the spade in the ground and we're building in Mumbai. We have 4 sites in all. We are looking for the next 4 sites and are in negotiating and in all the administration around that. And if you look at it, any city or mega city in India will require an IKEA footprint sooner or later. So now we take the first steps. The ambition of 25 is a good ambition. And then I think our successes the coming years will determine a bit of our risk appetite and the speed as we go ahead.
Now has gotten it right once again. It has confirmed the fact that they are looking at raising funds for the company, and therefore because of that they will be issuing 52.5 lakh shares, which is nearly 8.8% stake to Denso. What we are picking up exclusively from sources is that Denso is in talks with the promoters to acquire a stake and hike their existing stake from 13% to 24.9%.
We are now projecting that Sucrose will be maintaining double-digit growth in this financial year also and the next financial year also. Between 15-16% is a reasonable number which we have planned for Sucrose, and we are very confident that we'll achieve this number.